No, I'm kidding, I'm kidding. I really enjoyed the singing. That was my main thing, but I do want
Okay,
to
let's try again. We got Apeks on defense, we got
sing
Fnatic on
some
attack.
Taylor Swift.
I thought you were going to say
That
Chronicle.
should just be the next. Oh yeah, Chronicle would be maybe a duet.
Oh, that could be.
I'm
You could
building
Post
the show
Malone's
for
parts. I think we're on to something here. We're also about to start the game. It might seem odd, but the second time round,
pistol for
we'll see if
both.
we can make it through a round.
Change their fade up. They changed their fade eye slightly.
Thank you very much.
It's great having
The
you here,
first was
brother.
so nice. We had to do it twice.
Well, last time it was a slow default from Fnatic. We'll see if the same thing happens this time. Again, the push and pull, they move towards the C site and then finished up on A. Apeks, not likely to leave
Restart
as
the VOD,
much of a
yeah.
gap as they did before. And you can already
did
see
it already.
Fluorescent in a much more passive position.
Well, it
So
looks
there
like
will
it's
be
going to
some
play out
learning
pretty
opportunities, I
similar.
suppose,
Apeks
from
change it
that
up
first little hiccup.
slightly as well. They were fighting over towards
It
C
is
a
the
bit
same
heavier.
patient sort of hold, but
Now they
again,
want
we're
to fight
seeing
over
that
towards B.
aggression. Clearly going to be something that's brought out throughout, but it's being much more carefully watched this time.
Genuinely, this is such an interesting thing to look at in terms of the psychology of both teams in this situation. You know what pistol both teams have now prepared. You know what your opponent's prepared. What are you going to do about it?
Exactly.
Do you want to do the same thing? Do you think that they're going to counter it? Who knows? Floor's not giving that
Yeah,
space,
and we got the
that kill is
option
early,
of
should be
the
blasted.
pivot
Well, looks
over
like they're gonna make it
towards B as
the A
well.
side anyways, and with a bit
Smoke.
more time on the clock
Ooh,
this
smoke
time
lineup for
around,
Heaven.
although they did
People
make
have been
it
doing this
decisions
recently.
by the looks of things last time.
Maybe it was Fnatic
There are
again last
also more
time.
players from
30
Apeks
seconds left.
defending though. The rotations in from
Deeper
Malzy.
smoke, so
Fluorescent
you
is
can
here, as
smoke.
she has been the whole round, but Governor has come in to fill
Pivot
space.
over
Looking
towards
for the
B,
fight, and Crashes is the one
crashes.
to win it, as the
Gets
rest
a
of the
kill on
attackers
stairs
move
as
into
well,
the
so
B
looking
side,
pretty good for
meeting up with
Fnatic.
that late play from Alfier, who's been containing that deep push, so they're going to get themselves on site with double the time of last time, and this time, they've got the plan.
They've done it.
Round of applause, please. But in the meantime, Fluorescent has been able to get one back, putting things into an even scenario. Kayak in
Joe.
a solid position, but somewhat isolated.
God,
It doesn't
the sheriff on the
matter,
pistol
though.
is
Two quick
kind of
and
crazy,
easy
isn't it?
picks.
The double body
Back
shots.
to already
Good
dangerously
nade.
lower smoke and a nade to try and run through. This is looking like a done deal. No hope, it seems, for the clutch
Hey,
Meister
very,
himself,
very
but
nice in the
Fnatic,
end from
well,
Fnatic.
they'll rectify things this time and even plant the spike while they do it.
Well, for the second pistol attempt, okay, Fnatic have won that mental battle. They come out with the pistol win that they probably should have had the first time round as well. And now we can see what's the approach going to be. Now that Apeks understands they're going to play this slightly slower game, how fast are those rotations
Isabella,
gonna
thank
be
you so
on
much for the
defense?
tier 1.
How
Thank you for doing that.
aggressive do
Appreciate
they
the
have
6
to go
months.
to keep the information they need to have a good read
Thank
on
you
what
for that.
Fnatic are doing.
Okay, we get the 3 guns. They're allowed 2 deaths. And Apeks want to go for a full pass and push. And honestly, it's a fair amount of guns over towards here.
He's just been shooting from the start in most of their games, and that seems to be true here as well on the Omen. Now 1-0 for Fnatic. Of course, we know that means Apeks are going to take a very light buy. They decided to push up with most of their players outside of C and a little bit of information for them on that B hit.
Guys, you could have
Big
waited
blitz,
just one
but
more
Fnatic
second.
more than ready, sitting back and letting the range of their rifles be the
Just
difference
one
maker in
more
those
second
battles.
for that smoke, surely.
Normally fairly easy scenarios to try and get through. I also kind of wanted to ask from your perspective. Obviously, one of these teams has stolen
Okay, well, they'll take this.
your
Kayak
assistant coach.
might even get thrown the
And the
spike here as
other,
well.
You obviously kind of struggled against when you're on focus.
Yeah,
is
so
there
no
a way
matter
that you're
what,
leaning just in
Kayak
terms of
probably going to
personal
search this
preference?
as well.
I'd like to see this squad do well.
At one
I'm not
point,
saying you hate
he
the
doesn't feel
other
comfy to
just
search
saying,
them, and
I
he
see
still
it
could
in your
lose
eyes,
it.
like,
No, genuinely, I'd love to see both of these teams do well. I think there's enough storylines. I think we're also seeing the best version this year of both of these teams currently going into this game. I think that's what makes it so genuinely interesting. From a prep
The
perspective,
best
from
version?
a game perspective, from individual mechanics perspective, like you said about someone like Boaster, when you get that as well, you get that individual confidence, we start to see the sort of fantastic mid-round calling that he in particular had against Vitality. When you get some of the individual moments like a Vova clutching up like he was against Team Heretics,
Yeah, you could get a lot here.
that's when we can turn
Whoa.
a what should be a
Look at the
relatively
HPs.
comfortable series.
Oh my goodness.
They did close it out in
20,
the end
21,
into something a little
45.
bit more spicy.
So to answer my original question, who do you want to win?
The best
there
version
was
this
a
year?
lot in
Oh,
there,
okay.
pal, but
Then
no,
that is
tech
very
issue.
fair.
Take right there.
None of it was actually answering who you'd like to win the game.
Tech issue.
We are only 3 months in, but yeah.
That's what we've got desk analysts for.
Ah, okay. Mitch,
Dude,
who do
wait,
you want?
what?
Nah, I'm not going to put that further down the line.
What even
Let's
is
go
that
Sky.
basket?
Yeah, he's going to pick the one with the Irish guy on the team. Or if there is an Irish guy, sometimes he'll create one.
That's not true.
Enzo?
I've seen the passport. Bodor, get the tweet out there. Enzo has an Irish passport. We've all seen it, so let's no further questions. Look, it's round 3. It's important to focus now because Apeks, they get their rifles
Tech
out.
post.
This is where the big fight takes place, but not much of a difference to what we've seen before. Still a player outside B. this time it will not be Batu who's left to hold down the A site, but looking for some
Okay,
aggression.
aggro C in the first buy round opened the door, so question mark cleared. Make him use utils. We can see nothing aggro over towards A at the moment, but no one knows about it.
And for now, that slow, patient play that we know Fnatic for seems to be holding its weight in water, but the B site, they've lined up with a firing squad waiting, a trap set, and Malzy walked into it.
It was kind of nice. From Fnatic, they had both of them there. I don't know if it's a jump peek or like a committed peek or what from Malzy, but an absolute nightmare.
And Malzy's not the player you want to lose. Some of that regenerative utility already gone.
Absolutely. I think if they continue to use this B main space to punish those faster defensive rotations...
The PK? Yeah, that's why I kind of want to see how, like what the peak was.
This is a problem. Avova.
Nice util from Fnatic. Like, did they wait for the reaction of the fade eye first before they omen flash? You can protocol where it's based, like where you should be flashing. They get the good plan as well. Got a luck going in. Kayak now gets all.
Back into the salvo. Barely holding on to life as
yeah, he's not going to have to use it because we've got the luck coming in as well to secure this. Oh, this is going to be rough.
Definitely not the time to deploy any ultimates. It should be an easy conversion. Batu trying his best, but too many numbers
Fnatic would take
off
that.
Against him, and Alfier creeping his way up on the flank would have closed it out. Regardless, a 3-0 start for Fnatic here on the attack side, and for Apeks, they've come in choosing this map. It seemed to throw up some question marks.
That's crazy.
The best of
That's
starts.
our peak.
I kind of wanted to ask you then. We look at a lot of teams in the way that they run bonus rounds. Like obviously for Fnatic, they went with 3 rifles, had a couple of pistols.
He thinks it's okay because they walked open door and went this way. But then it's been like what, 15 seconds since we drew the question marks.
All 3 of the rifles on the other
and then just walks out.
It's definitely a risk versus reward thing.
It's really rough on your first buy rounds.
On those second round anti-ecos, how good
Outlaw.
do you think you are at
Every single person can get one shot.
Rounds, and what risks are you willing to take? Are you
good off angle though from Batu.
3 big investments on the rifles and just hope that you get away with it? It's something you bring out in practice. It's something you work out as an identity thing with your team.
This makes me a little nervous. The aggressive push up. I do think as well, Fnatic
shot, absolute shot
to clear things out. And
we've been speaking a lot about his confidence with like scope, weapons. Definitely where he feels the best.
Almost selling a ruse. They watched for the aggression on B, but Apeks are still pushing it.
They push over towards B. Turret spots them.
Marshall a chance if he can connect onto the head, but Kayak only needs that body shot.
Yeah, he had the Marshall as well. They kind of know they can overwhelm this easy. Might be the same thing. Fade eye goes in, wait for the fade eye, then they can omen flash off of it.
While the rest of the map is taken over by Fnatic.
Was that a no-scope battle? I want to know if Kayak aimed in. If he is, he's a coward. That's all I'm going to say. It has to be knows. It's
no-scopes from Fnatic at the moment.
Rules,
maybe you would have liked the plan to go to crashes, but
economy damage because power.
That's the only thing.
Kind of crazy on the Fnatic side.
Yeah, it's starting to build, and if you're in that position on Fnatic, attack side, Lotus in particular, we know that when they get that confidence going, when they get the economy to back them as well, they can put on an absolute masterclass.
Seems like for this round we may already be there. Solid flash, but the shot's just not quite connecting. That's
money's
4-0.
Money's outrageous.
4 players surviving. And honestly, I think we then go back to the conversation about choosing Lotus, knowing that Fnatic will get that attack
timeout. Yeah, maybe.
As of yet, I've not.
You might give him an extra buy round. Depends.
No, I'm looking for it.
I am Frano with the 2 mums. Thank you for the prime. Thank you for doing
that. We might see something around this this light bulb as well. We can already see Bosa's confidence is up. Let's see what effect that has on his calling throughout this map.
But it has been dangerous, as we said. The guy has been shooting in the majority of their games and started out the pistol well, but hasn't needed to do much ever since. Thanks to a lot of kills falling into the hands of Kayak early on. Showstopper was there. And now still very much is for an important round where there's a big investment from Apeks. Not only is the operator that you said, pal, in the hands of Fluorescent, Malzy's gone in for the Odin, and that is suppressing fire on another
big stun as the smoke goes down.
A potential swing
I like this though. This is good. This is probably the best round we've seen so far from Apeks. This is good. Create a lot of pressure. They can if they want to leave this. But Fnatic should think there's like an Odin holding here really.
Quick to try and make that move, a setup of the TP to allow Floor to try and hold on to this fight. Ready and waiting, but the shot not quite connecting. Not going to get too many more opportunities like that.
50 on the clock.
Dude, look at them pressure everywhere. At the same time, Smoke walk out over towards A as they walk over towards B and start prodding on C. Okay, 40 seconds. They're going to make a call now. The call is fake C into A. Well, honestly, fake C into B, but...
No, the damage done onto Kayak I don't even think was him, so... Yeah, this so far hasn't worked. Kayak is walking.
Great shot again.
Fight. Absolute lunatic gets punished, but this almost keeps players on the other side of the map.
Okay, Governor has mollies to stop the plant.
Gonna try and deny with the salvos, but that denial will not do enough.
Yeah, looks like both might have to tank this a little bit.
Not expected by Avova.
Wait,
and now we're
he
in a
double
really
mollied same place?
much more difficult position. I thought Crashies would turtle, come back to the rest of the squad, play the post plant, but he swings out wide, catches a player on stairs, and leaves this in a position. I mean, 4-0, looking at a 5th round for Fnatic, and with the rifles in play, an operator still in their hands. They might have wanted to hold on to those for the next round.
Well,
now that's not an option, at least not for the op.
So it's kind of done.
The last man standing on the C site, trying desperately to
Man,
keep
the sun must be
battle
really
through
rough
the
on
next,
LAN. He's in this corner. He hears the plant here, and he double mollies this.
With the confidence this high on Fnatic's individuals, I'd probably expect Apeks to look at a timeout here and start to, I think, goes back to the point you made earlier, Tom, of looking at this refreshable util. These
what's up,
salvos,
Des?
these
Talk to
stuns,
me.
these flashes, to actually help Fluorescent get back on these angles. When she gets pushed off from B main there, reposition onto C long, take these deep angles for early info. They need to get something a bit more aggressive, and there's the timeout.
Now,
Probably photos are fake. I still don't think you put the salvos in the same place.
But frozen for a moment on Fnatic, looking for an opportunity, and I, in my mind, I'm curious to see how you feel about this, pal. You know, I've seen teams before use that showstopper to fake out.
Wrap it up already.
I'm the point of contact. Teams behind me, I'm bursting through.
Yeah, this is the issue with Apeks. It's like they kind of won the map veto because they managed to get a sim for 3rd map, probably looking like their best map, but they got to get there.
Take the pick on a head peek angle. Is that something that you would maybe try to incorporate into your team in the future, pal?
Well, we'll find out at some point.
No leaks, no leaks.
There's those little moments. So that's the big difference from a player, from a team perspective, between scrims, practice, and officials. If you've got the confidence in the moment, you've got that read, you know that you want to go and
What's
make
on
that
Liquid's
play.
game say? I
People
thought they
that dare
played great.
to do those are often the ones that win those crucial
They
rounds.
just keep doing this
Force
thing
the
every
timeout
week
out of
where
the
they
opposition
just
team,
feel like the
and then
best
give
prep
your
team.
That next step, that
with a
next
week's
step on the
practice
ladder to get ahead, to stay ahead, and lean into probably what's going to be quite a dominant half for Fnatic.
Yeah, I think as well, what's worrying me so far is, and it's something I think Fnatic might do better than anyone else on this map, is their ability to take ground, give it up, but leave someone behind. And we've seen that in
Who do you think is the best opera in all of VCT? I honestly think it might be Cryo. I don't know if that's like a hot take. I've always kind of viewed him as one of the best that needs to get the op as a win condition.
This piece that's going, I have this ground, so then
extra
you have to reclaim
Kang.
ground.
Yeah, Kang's pretty legit. DG Zen's pretty legit.
You've got to get a lot more proactive, and okay, it's expected on an eco round like this. But
something's kind of sick as well. I think something's sick, but they never like prioritize around him.
Aggression from key players that can keep and hold space and deny those Fnatic inserts.
Crashies, I think, was 10-1 to this point, so Fluorescent has at least traded
Artists
out
never
the
forget. Artists isn't too bad.
Kayak was a very small amount behind, and the rest of the players, Mitch, don't have any guns.
It's also given Crashies a little bit of a blow to the stats. I think he's been doing remarkably well when it comes to first deaths and not
Kang clears.
But,
it's a little bit hard because Kang probably gets bought the most ops out of every team, so we get to see way more of it.
The big danger in this round, unless it's going to be recovered, which Alpha, like you said, they often will concede space. Here the turret's watching your B push up, and Alpha's making sure that that operator doesn't get picked up. Now, if Apeks can take Alpha down, that's
Rogue's got a lot to do here.
Good chance
Still
to
has
maybe
flash.
Have a say over this round.
I think that's actually a really, really good tell of the confidence that the Fnatic have, despite that Apeks timeout. They're willing to take that increased risk, to leave Alpha there, to leave him there with a rifle, just to defend that operator, just to continue that economic advantage they have over Apeks.
The stun was good, but the shot's not quite there. A better weapon.
They're loving the pivot into B at the moment.
The pistols are struggling.
How many rounds so far have we seen?
Taking a
like hold this or pressure into a replay with Killjoy chilling. Then broke down, fix it, stream.
And for Apeks at this point, you know, with the APK covered, Governor can definitely look to carry it through to the next round. For the others, it may be a go down to the spike kind of angle. Batu already has ult, and Evova's orbs not worth that much, but the economic advantage that Fnatic have make it tempting to try to remove some more of these weapons. So far, that has been a struggle. There's one at least, but here comes Alpha.
Killed it though.
Now, will they get the op out of Governor's hands? He was saving the same position last time, and he saw Alpha last time, but this time he takes him down.
Right.
See already the chase. Credits
Big
on the
Joe.
majority of players,
Nice
almost
shot.
a couple of nice flicks.
Big rounds, but they're up against
not only for
probably the
his
two
own economy, but
scariest
more
ults from
to
this
make sure
comp.
that operator will lie into the hands of Fluorescent. The problem so far, as you mentioned though, Pal, so far they've not really been able to put her into position other than in this round where she ran face first into them with an operator, which not the most sustainable of strategies.
No, it's not, but now with these ults, I would hope that they've got something set that they can use as a more sustainable way of disrupting what Fnatic have been doing so far.
You mentioned 4 out of 5 online.
Yeah, a lot of ults onto this one, so now's the time for Apeks to get some rounds. They go aggro, Boast is out on his own, 3 pass in here. They have no idea. They have no idea.
Not exactly expected. I think he's escaped the showstopper as well. So
damn, dude. What happened here? There was a stun and then block, was it? So it looked like one of them was stunned and the other wasn't.
Great start to the round from Apeks.
Especially when we've seen Fnatic take so many of these rounds so slowly. The one time that they go for that little bit of aggression, it's met pound for pound by Apeks. A beautiful adaptation from this squad, and now what should be their first round on the board.
Exactly, and that's what we're looking for out of Apeks now. What have you got that you can take it to Fnatic?
Uh-oh.
Careful.
How much does Kayak have?
That one's free. Okay. Fluorescent's not missing that shot. I would have bet my house on it.
I got the spike.
For Alpha. He's no Evova. He is up against. If it was Evova, I believe in the clutch, but so much space conceded.
Do you remember who Alpha here is? Did you
If it's Evova, I believe in the clutch, but not Alpha, that's crazy.
Yeah, he's not
Evova's my #1.
But he has a couple more trophies than Evova.
I seem to remember one on Icebox B main. He had quite a good job of clutching up against a certain team in a certain grand final, I think.
Okay. Okay.
My man comes out on
It's a
top.
pretty nice round though from them.
1-6 though is where
That
we're
first
at.
duel was very, very
Look,
important.
they've had their showstopper for a while, burning it up in this round for not great success, and a fantastic response in terms of ultimates from Apeks. But you have to ask the question, is it repeatable? Can we see this round again, the aggression up on A main, and if not, where will they take it? Because like we said, that proactivity, it seems to be what's pushed them across the line.
This is going to be a mean question, but how important is getting that first round on the board?
I wouldn't know. It is, genuinely very, very important, especially the first couple of buy rounds, getting through the early parts of a half, especially on a map that you've picked as well. It's crucial for players' confidence, for sure.
Someone who never lost any amount of confidence was
it's a good amount of info here.
You can see again the deep.
Okay, we gotta start talking about the money a little bit. Obviously, they survived that with pretty much everyone alive, so the money is good. But
so aware of C aggression, they're holding on to B control as well. So it's a spot where, again, we go back to those.
Duel on A
clears.
at the moment. Where's the smoke go?
That comes out from Crashes is integral, but this one has left a gap. They're aware of it, but it doesn't matter.
Very clean engagement. The lurk out here from Chronicles set to meet Evova any moment now. Waits on the other
30
side.
HP on the jaw.
Delayed him as Alpha takes that kill on
okay,
B.
40-second mark. Call goes in. Call is to hit over towards C, and that's going to help. I wonder if he's going to. Yeah, I was going to say. I wonder if he's going to call the rest of his team out.
And now that A site wide open with the TP
and all over towards Tree. Can get the smoke out.
Fnatic should have themselves a free
This is nice,
plan.
man. This changed everything. I do like watching Fnatic. Fnatic are one of the better teams to watch like the mini-map for as well.
Flashbacks.
Like, they're great.
They're around the never was. They got so much information about where 2 of these players are. Even going to put the lockdown in. Don't mind it. It's going to force them into an awkward position. Cycle those ultimates back from this stage. Batu should be screwed.
They're great at just mid-rounding for sure.
The question is about saving that operator a chance of victory.
No, that's a lot of like what they like to do. Like slow control of the map.
Did they overcook
and then they have like XX.
pushing Chronicle.
What they like to do if they get kills, they're
was a little bit risky.
trying to
Maybe
change
not
stuff
knowing
up
that
real
they was
fast.
that far forward, but I feel like it's that B site lurk again. Like having a player around there, they
They
keep
always have a
getting caught in
plan. They always have
motion.
options
Again,
as
it's
well.
those
I think it's the
50-50
main thing.
fights that these
Like
inserts
they'll
from
always
Fnatic
have
that we
like someone
mentioned,
inserted
if they take
here.
them and they win
They would have
them,
had like
it's gonna win
pressure
them the whole
here or
round.
something.
And
Like they always have like
Apeks need
good
to start
options of
adjusting
where
to
to go.
this, rather than giving them these 50-50s, see where Fnatic's pack goes and start looking to isolate these lurkers, these inserts a little bit more. Give yourself better than a 50-50 chance of shutting down those cancel options.
Well, that's it, right? Avova, here's the guy just pushing him solo. You see it as soon as the smoke fades. It is a 50-50 duel, but Chronicle catching him off guard. Has much less to check in that angle. So,
We're looking
Well,
like
also it's a
prime
Chronicle
Fnatic.
fight, so it's not really a 50-50 of Chronicles on the other side.
that's true. Yeah, that is very true.
This is looking like Prime Fnatic on Lotus, to be honest. This is looking good.
Well, 7
But it's a good thing it's their choice, you know? Orange logo, pick the map, so...
That's a different shape.
That looks like an A.
Yeah,
But
it
coming
isn't
into today, and we
looking
had this discussion
great.
before the game, and
Picking Lotus
obviously
against
looking at the video
Fnatic,
that came
they
in,
kind of owned
this
it
is somewhere that I think
because
reasonably, correct me if I'm wrong, we
they
could have
did
seen
get their
Fnatic
best
pick,
map as
and
last
it would've-
map,
would've
and
been a
obviously to win you
reasonable
gotta
choice for them.
get
So
two.
you really do expect that Apeks
Wow.
have something up their sleeve. Same comp comes in, and you're like, okay, how are you going to run it? Not like that. Kayak's already
Yeah, it's
ahead, not
looking
even
rough
hit
though,
by the
isn't it?
paranoia, and easily eliminating Avova. Again, that A site is blown wide open, and it feels like this defense from Apeks is it's like
What
look
a
at
walk
leaves
off.
in the wind. They are just being
Yeah.
thrown about by the gust
That
of
is the
Fnatic.
issue.
What is
This is
different
nice
now,
though. They
are
realize they're
changing
getting
up within
pivoted
this same
over every
default
time
they're
over towards
keeping. It's now
B,
this
so they're
double
gonna
B
like
main push.
clear.
They're closing out that option,
Ah, dude, you guys gotta go
but
together.
they've still given them a 1v1.
Yeah, I
It was
think
like they
this-
had they actually had the right read of like when they lose A to go
There was
deep
so
and
much
play
hope
this,
in your voice there,
because
pal.
every single
I
time
loved
they've gone
hearing
A
you just
control
fade
pretty
away.
much, they've just pivoted
Here they
over
go, they're
towards
doing
B.
it.
But it's just the fact they bailed.
Oh, the fade on.
Like
has been put
Governor
through.
was on the right page, or
No,
well,
there's no one on the site
just on
itself.
different
I was
pages.
going to say that it could build up nicely for a combination of the Dimensional Drift Rolling Thunder, but when you're in a 3 versus 5, the gamble doesn't seem worth the risk. They know the Kayaks here, they heard a bullet or two connect, and the response is there. Not bad from Batu. That pulls out the Viper's Pit. It's going to make this so much tougher.
They make
That's
the
it.
right call here, especially
Well.
with an op on the ground, but more importantly, Chronicle in a
Kayak,
pit.
yeah,
Hey, if it's a
Kayak's-
1v2,
Kayak's
probably
getting
still
better,
safe, to be
better
honest,
as the
looking
week
at
goes
history,
on.
but
Oh,
this
like as
man,
we get
he is
every
hard
single
to root
week.
out of that position. He's safe in tree as well, and you're going to assume that you're running into Boaster,
I haven't
who
had
early
to
game
do an
hit
actual
his
retake
shots,
yet.
or
No, yeah,
Althea,
someone always
who's not
dies early.
exactly the
You're
weakest
right.
of opponents.
Oh, according to you, you know, put him in a clutch, he's not going to win.
Yeah, but he wasn't in a clutch. 3v2.
Who do you think is the best team
And he's here.
between Koi, Giants, and Apeks from what I watched?
Well, 8 rounds now for
Probably
Fnatic, and at
Giants.
some point, you got to start to question why Apeks wanted to bring it here, and it's up to them to show us the answers. For now, we're left scratching our heads.
The biggest thing for me is that Apeks are kind of relying on these ultimates that they're getting up to try and get themselves into the game. Fnatic are playing such a good Lotus attack side that they're just using theirs just to close out, keep it secure, keep it safe.
Yeah.
They don't really need them to get in, and actually, it's caused Apeks to bring out a second timeout and half. Rare, especially with
If
only 3
Ascent is their
rounds to
best
go,
map, why did
but
they
perhaps
pick
they've got
Lotus
something up
first?
their sleeve,
'Cause
combine the Rolling Thunder,
they obviously
combine
had
the
a good
Dimensional
read
Drift,
that
just to
Fnatic
get
would
up a couple of these
wouldn't
rounds
ban it.
towards the end of the half and give
So
them
they
the
wanted to try
motivation going
prep
into the second.
one
Yeah,
map for
normally
the
you
week,
wouldn't
make
want
it
to
be a
see
bit of a
but
shock.
you'd mention it's 8-1
Pick
down,
it and then have
where
the
we're now at
third
a
map,
stage
so you
where
win
if
the
you go in
first, and then you
11-1
can go
down,
1-1 and then
I don't
2-1.
care who you are, I don't think
Like,
you're
it
going to win
is
that
smart.
out versus Fnatic. They'll just save
It's
up
better
all their
than
ults
like
if they ever do
picking
need them. And that's if they
Ascent,
don't close things out
having that other
before.
map that you
And
believe that you
I
can
think
beat
that
them
this
on,
is now,
get
you
second
mentioned
banned.
it, there's moments where it looks like, okay,
But
they're
why
gonna
Lotus?
pin
I mean,
start
they
to that player,
must have felt
and
like they
then
could punish him.
separate and look for clues. The stun's a little bit delayed.
Hasn't worked out.
Just disjointed enough that you give Althea a 1v1 duel. And again, that's it's always going to go in his favor unless he makes a mistake, which he doesn't do that very often.
Which is rare with a player of his caliber for sure. But let's see, again, that's something that that the Apeks staff might be now trying to touch up on, is to really reinforce this disruptive aggression early round, mid round, get in their face, perhaps change the default as well. Doesn't look like it, but we've also not seen much variation from what they're doing, at least in the early round.
Yeah,
It's difficult
I would
more so
love them to
because
actually like
most of the time, if you go
fight
for
this
these
with
like
two,
KO setups, there's going
or
to be some sort
leave,
of
see as a
aggression
retake,
somewhere on the map.
or fight.
But Fnatic would genuinely spend
Like they get so
half a
much
round
map
sat
control
there
at the
and spawn.
beginning.
Like, look, they're just watching.
Okay,
as
this
all
is a
of
good
utility
change-up.
goes, they'll wait it out, and then look to
Then we
reclear
gotta
later.
And the only time they did in the
gotta be stunning this as the wall goes down.
So understandable. This time a little bit of a switch up with Fluorescent and Malzy pushing. It's been a Vova dropped towards A for a couple rounds. They swap it up. They put the op there. Early aggro deleted immediately. And Fnatic, they're not even breaking a sweat on this
They didn't
push.
even use a Prowler in the initial clear. They were so confident in winning those fights that they sent basically no util. They just dry cleared and used them later on in the round. This is just a sweep. They were talking about waves, right? Well, this has turned into a tsunami and their opponents are getting washed away.
Yeah, and hoping to flood back in here, perhaps a chance.
I mean, maybe. Batu's got to kill everyone.
But it's a Vova, low HP, and dealt with by Alpha Yer. Batu, the last man standing.
Fnatic looking snappy, yeah. Still feel like Apeks aren't playing great there, right? It should be like they had it earlier. That's the thing that's annoying. It's like they did it earlier where it was salvos, and then they had to stun ready for when they're gonna drop the wall. This time, just no stun.
An immense show of force from Fnatic.
Something they're so drilled with, they're so comfortable with on this A reclear. I don't think they had the read that that Apeks are going to leave the op there. Perhaps they did have that overconfidence to go.
Why should they stun there? It seems like Floor should have the plan because it's 3 angles.
They've stolen my whiteboard
Like
idea.
it can be 1, 2, 3. They're kind of 4 angles. You'll always be stunning this line after if you're gonna do this. But when this wall drops, if you want to face it. Like the op's good once you get over towards this setup.
Fnatic making it
The
look
4
easy out
angles
here.
of an aggro op.
Avoiding that early utility, taking the early fights, and often, as we've said, not even using their own util for that. It's just been drop the wall, take the fight. As the smokes fade, so too do the remaining defenders. Round 11, 2 chances for Apeks to at least build some foundations for the next half. The operator's still out.
It's a showstopper though.
Yeah, I mean, they've Rolling Thunder on their own side.
I'd quite like to see them play a retake. Just when you have that dimensional drift and in combination with the Rolling Thunder, it's been online for a lot of rounds, but last round they played a contact off the back of the op, which they lost.
Okay,
I think
here we
before
go.
That, it was
Boombot
these
finds
really
the
aggressive
op.
clears
Now what?
even when having a player advantage. Well, here goes the showstopper. B site clear. No one going to resist this? No.
Dude, he took so much space though. So much
Look at the
space.
extremities of the map, though. Poster is sitting outside.
Guys actually
C.
dodged the
You've
ult.
got a late lurk
Tap
as
of
well,
the
like Crashes.
spike. Where do
know
they
that
go
they're
now?
likely to
Do they
hit a
wait for
bunch of these
Kayak?
ultimates on their way through, or on Apex's way back
It's
in.
such a weird
and
round.
So the solution is to send
15
out those extremity
seconds.
plays, but Boaster being caught limits their options somewhat. 12 seconds left. Plant is actually found. The ult from Fluorescent not landing. Alpha maintains control,
Shots.
but it's stolen away by Governor. 2 quick op shots, and it's back into Apex's favor. We've not seen them with
Okay, they can't
this
even stop
level
the
of an
diffuser.
advantage since that ult from Governor, and again, he is the difference maker, but Crashy's on the late lurk. Kayak with another. The defuse underway, though!
Got close though. It did get close. I think Kayak played this really well though over towards Heaven. Like he was super patient, especially with the Euro ult. He's pretty much just waiting for them to go out. Like of the actual Euro itself.
Comes through. We were sat, a Vova walked past and I go, I want to see at least 1 ninja defuse today. Well, he has delivered. I don't know if that's the sort of round they would have wanted with how things have been going though. It's something, it's at least an additional round on the board, but the fact that that late rotation from Crashies and then the aggressive push through the smoke almost still wins it, it's terrifying.
It's terrifying.
Okay, can they get 3?
Both
The money's kind of in the bin. We
retake,
get
in the
a couple of Guardians.
had quite significant
Missing a
number
little bit of
advantages,
util.
and it looked a little bit sketchy both times.
Well, 4v2 and Fnatic still winning all those fights. That spells danger.
Is it
for the
doable with
future
3?
of this map, perhaps
Solo
this
Euro
series,
and attack?
9-2.
Probably not.
Apeks, they've won 2 rounds that feel like flash in the pan. Now we need to see them really start to cook with gas, and it's a Vova opening it up, but the immediate response is there. Luckily, Batu had taken quite an aggressive position, and possibly the deepest Viper ultimate that I've seen put into play here on Lotus, past Mound,
just to slow
and he's
them
just
down.
bailed out, yeah.
A pretty good reaction again from Fnatic though.
Instead, he's being flanked. Does seem to have a decent idea on it though. Catching a couple, eventually will be cleared, but there's another player that they had to look for. Leaving Crashies alone in the clutch now.
Dude is 14-6. With the plant, he gets all.
Knows that there's nobody close, although, well, the plant has been delayed. This could make this a much more problematic scenario with 2 players already coming in on the flank. He's going to have to get this bang on. Solid utility immediately thrown out, but they are behind him.
3.
It's at least
I mean, maybe with a
small
pistol,
recovery
but
for Apeks, who have still got a long
really,
way to
really
go.
hard.
As long as there's no PC issues again here, then we should get the defuse. It should be 3 at the end of the half. And actually, I think Apeks, with how that half was looking, should be happy with it.
That's the halftime.
Oh, there's a nice little flash.
A chance for
flash
Apeks
TP
still.
though.
They planted their seeds, and now they shall sprout in the second half. We'll find out if they can make that recovery after the break.
Fnatic defender, yeah, they're pretty good on this map. Could you beat Wingman in a fight if he was the same size as a gorilla? Man, you're kind of just asking me if you think I could beat a gorilla in a fight, which obviously I can't. What do you want me to say there, man? That's crazy. Can I beat a horse-sized mini? Does he have the same cardio as Mini's got or not? Now we're getting into the real questions. At least he's not a gorilla. He's got less cardio?
Three in favor of Fnatic, and Apeks delivered a couple lifelines towards the end of that half. They're not down and out just yet. And in ordinary circumstances, up against Fnatic on Lotus, I'm going to say, yeah, you know what? It's all right. Let's go to the next map. Let's go to your pick. But that's not the case this time around. Apeks chose this battleground, so let's hope whatever they've been cooking is very focused on the attack side.
Absolutely. We're going to have to see something. They're going to have to show themselves something to get that confidence back in. Difficult on defense on Lotus.
Gotta win the pistol to keep this one going.
With so much experience, with so much comfort.
They go to Sheriff, triple ghost.
That was what I was going to ask you.
By for
Do
both
you look
teams.
at the Apeks composition and still think this will thrive more so on the attack? Because a lot of this for me had aspects of defensive aggression, like having that Teo, having that breach. You can still implement it. I think for Fluorescent, obviously will have to be a focal point, but I'm not as certain as say with the Fnatic comp that this was built for the attack.
No, absolutely. So this Apeks comp, you should be able to have a very strong attack side. You've got the double smokes. You've got the ability to deny defensive vision, so you force them to be quite proactive, which against a comp like Fnatic's, they might struggle to do with only that fade. You've got the breach.
Okay, a little bit of pressure over towards A. There's going to be wall up, open the door, hit over towards C.
Force them to
wall up, open the door, question mark created. Wait like 4 seconds for the rotate and then go. They're gonna walk?
To this side of the map, and there are,
dude, I mean,
well,
Fnatic are not biting on this at all.
The salvos will make it awkward, but actually Boaster goes forward, takes things into his own hands.
And he gets out.
He
You can smoke. Real good.
A double
teammate there.
The hope here from Apeks that the
wow, he didn't even smoke. He waited for the pivot fast.
With drag rotations, it has not worked out. Not even a sliver of hope.
Jump peeks as well. Spots them going back.
Opening the door to B, trying to drag rotates and dropping Boaster. Okay, a good start. Malzy, even in for another. That's him, I think, tripling his kills already. A confidence builder, but a third! And it's Alphayer. Chronicle on the way to back him up. 8 seconds left, though. They can just throw themselves at Batu and stop this plant. Win off of time, and in fact, he sealed his fate.
Okay, very nicely done. 2-0 on the pistols. I mean, the idea wasn't too bad from Apeks, but I'm watching them have front B info. 3-person stack over towards B. Boaster did really good. I'm surprised he was chill on his smoke here and wait for the pivot to B.
Like trying to get into that with Boaster finding 2. I think his paranoia probably couldn't have been better placed if he tried, but it did seem the second they lost that initial fight, it was a scramble.
Yeah, it's when you end up in that sort of situation, you know you've got limited weapons, you know you've got a big space disadvantage, never mind the numbers disadvantage. You've got to either try and go for something fast, something aggressive,
no plants, they can't even really buy into
it. Or you reset and you come up with a really good plan.
I think as well, Fnatic's
you know, Viper smoke there, yeah, but it didn't have like
so
fuel, right?
I like this though. Salvo's used to section off a spot we expect players to be, and even getting aggressive. But
yeah, I mean, they got to try something.
Alpha was ready with gun in hand. Will keep Kayak alive. Even still, Mitch, they're doing a bit of damage.
Yeah, they're getting over towards
site. A
site.
little closer than maybe the first eye test, especially when you see a player caught off guard and the trades come in so quickly in their favor.
Oh, we actually get to see the Apeks Classic. Dude, the Apeks Classic's kind of nice.
That certainly can't be said for Apeks, so you have to hope an element of surprise can come into play. No utility to back them up either. Obviously, the refresh from Malzy will be there soon on the stun, but back to an orb here could be valuable, and then, like you said, Fnatic have everything to work with.
It'll be easy. And unfortunately, in a normal case, we'd say, hey, you drop a rifle,
big fade
fantastic. You can go into the next round and you can make them pay. Unfortunately here, you almost have to hope that they'll be able to win it. Well, that has not gone to plan. Malzy's pistol prowess from the last round has dissipated. And even
very strong. Kayak can get the defuse as well, get his ult nice and early once again.
Fnatic Classic seems to be winning this one out. But actually, that kill that Malzy's unfortunately missed there on Boaster could actually be really, really crucial in terms of getting themselves back into the game. If he'd managed to get that, and then the death happens, and they're only one orb away then from his Rolling Thunder, going into a really, really important buy round this late in the half, it could have made a big, big difference.
For God's sake, man.
He's absolutely rolling with it.
Oh,
yeah, he really is, yeah.
He's firing 6 to 7.
Who's got more energy, him or Yumpy?
No one's getting close to Yumpy.
I mean, I like the comps for Boaster there, but it's hard for people to remember what Yumpy was doing on the stage. It was a couple days ago.
You taught him that, didn't you?
But you, I believe, were the vocal coach. You want to give us a sample of that?
Absolutely.
If Apeks come back, yeah?
No.
You'll give a bark if Apeks come back.
13-11. 10 rounds in a row. Will you give us a Yumpy bark?
I'm not giving that away for free.
Wow.
I didn't think it's for free. I didn't say I wasn't paying. Let's talk price.
We'll save that for later.
We'll talk about it between now and next map. 11 to 3. Buy up for Apeks. And look, at this point, pal, I actually want to ask you, 11-3 down. Do you literally wipe it from your mind, move to the next, or do you rate like a comeback here if you get to 7, 8 rounds? You start
I mean,
to
you rate a comeback.
Versus Fnatic. What do you think he's going to say?
I want to hear it.
I mean, you've absolutely got to go for it. I think at this point, you, as a player, as a competitor, you've got to want to play for all of these rounds, because it's also a respect thing for yourselves, okay? Looking at how confident you can be on the map when you go back into practice, you absolutely go for it, for sure. Yeah. But if it doesn't go well...
this is the problem with the solo Yoru.
That's the one
They did very good in smoke, molly, make sure you stop it, hit the TP, check.
For many other angles, and now it's the same thing. Okay, that hasn't worked. Let's just try and go back into the B site. Well, guess what? The Fnatic players are already waiting,
and they're
not going to overface here either. Kayak is one away
they
from
could,
having
Nate, have a combo,
this is
but
a done deal. Like, having that ultimate in this sort of scenario
did enough damage, maybe. Tunnel vision's kind of strong though. Seems they heard him shoot.
Somehow Malzy has found one more. Maybe there's some hope.
They've gotten overeager going in for those final fights.
Damn, we actually gonna get a 2v5.
We talk about clutches of Ova essentially in one here. Malzy 19 HP. Rolling Thunder catches both. That's a lot of time running down now. It seemed to be a certainty that Fnatic would be on 12.
They got good positions.
Would be almost in their pocket, but now they need to fight their way back in.
Crashies. God, they're wrecking them, man. It's pistol into double bonus convert.
Yeah, it's close enough. He does well in the re-entry, and 12 to 3.
It's gotta go next.
Like that's the topic I want to bring up. Is like you go back to.
Did they even had the mollies or the TP? Molly on the edge, they get to the TP, and then molly over towards the back of site as well.
Unbelievable, and he's bringing that same level here today. Not quite matching King Kayak over there, but you know, doing a stellar job.
The solo Yoru got really owned, in my opinion. The solo Yoru's, I'm seeing a lot of this recently as well, where people are playing Yoru, but it kind of just looks like they might as well be playing Jet. Like if you look at that whole defense half, you can do everything they did with Jet that they did with a Yoru.
If you're up against him, Kayak going down early, but it's all Ova. Wise to his tricks, catches Alphayer out, and now a 3 versus 5. Somehow, it feels like those two picks, though, just about even the scales.
Yeah, it definitely happens a little bit. It happened with Paper X on Pearl. Was it Pearl that they played the Yoru? Where it's like, well, if you want to play the Yoru, you got to show me that you know why you're using a Yoru.
Players might not want to go for this. You're so far in the lead at this stage.
And I think that's a really important point about using that dimensional drift from Apeks.
He said there's
They
VOD
need
reviewing
to
Lev.
secure
Yeah, there's
each round,
loads
one
of
round
teams
a
at the
time.
moment.
There's no point saving strats.
They just
There's
put
no point
their
saving ults. There's no
their
point
jet
saving
player on a
any
Yoru
ideas
and
that you
go.
have.
It's like the
Use
same
it,
thing, but you have a
start
flash.
building a little
And
bit
then
of
they're just the
momentum,
most-
get yourself back into the
They're
game.
just turrets on
And as soon as
defense.
you get past that 2, 3, 4 rounds won in a row mark, especially on the attack side, especially with a comp that can be as aggressive as this, with as strong ultimates as this, that makes all the difference to the player's mental in the server.
I think you hit the nail on the head there. There's no point saving strats when you're going to change comp after this anyways. At least I'd imagine so. The results going this way. Fnatic, though, they're a team that will exploit you more than any other, and the weakness is here apparent under the magnifying glass.
We always punch up
FNC.
here on the cast of this, you know?
Yes.
Never punching down. We
Never.
never hit anyone while they're down.
Wouldn't do that. Wouldn't dream of it.
Just don't watch the koi cast. I know you have
Jesus.
as well.
I have, yeah.
Well,
8 rounds?
mountain to climb.
It's doable.
Yeah, we may get the barks out of Pal yet, but there's going to be a lot of things that need to go right for Apeks. For Fnatic, just the 1 round ultimates. Operator in play for Kayak, and look at some of his openings so far. Look at some of his rounds, even just in this map.
You think
It's
he's the
hard to
best
believe
Yoru
that
currently?
Fnatic will run out of steam and find
Are we
themselves
are we
stalling.
including Yoru ults or not including Yoru ults?
Posters pushing with an
It's on an
Odin.
adventure.
Okay, so
I actually
don't
think
get that.
I think I've seen Mitch do this in his rank games.
That's not true.
My answer's definitely different in when we talk about the ults.
Extra armor. I like this great little bit of aggression from Boaster, and now there's a 2-man stack up on the other parts of the map. The way Boaster's been playing so far, you know, he's 6 and 7, but more so the context of stage 1. You believe he has a good chance, but if this stun hits him, he is in a lot of trouble.
Crikey gets so many hits.
It will. And now escaping should be impossible. He does! Never mind. Buying a lot of extra time as well. 45 seconds on the clock. Boaster now in position with Paranoia.
He's everywhere.
Back to potentially spam, but low enough on HP that has some serious risks about it. You can see the response from the opponents is potentially
Darker
to try
with
and
ults?
double back
Yeah.
here, but Crashy's already
Without
waiting,
ults,
sprays wildly,
it's,
gets nothing, but now walking
I
into
would
the
say
Lions
joke.
then Althea, but the flash
But
is
I
actually
don't.
phenomenal.
If
Leaves
we're
him
including tier
completely
2, then
blinded.
I do think we
Well, Kayak
I think we
to
gotta
do some damage here, but only
probably
with
talk
the
about Exeter.
operator. You almost have to have a mistake out from Apeks.
If Fnatic are going to go for it, that's exactly what needs to happen here, right? 2v4, op in play. I know you're 12-4 in the league,
if
but Fnatic are the kind of
Jogamo
team,
got his
although we
ults a
did
little
see
bit
them
better,
one
I
round
think
to
they're the
just
best. I
put
think he's the
pedal to
best at
metal
it.
and say,
But
I'm sure we'll get there eventually. No, they like to
he
play
just
the
has some
numbers.
of the worst ults I've
The
seen.
only thing that can let Apeks back into this game is perhaps a little bit of what we've just seen there. From both Boaster in A main, holding the smoke, taking contact with his weapon, rather than holding his Paranoia out.
Izu is a pretty good Yoru.
Crashy's there, just disrespecting the Evova's Paranoia.
Zek and Yoru?
in Hobbit there,
Ooh, I don't
taking
think it's
contact with
that
his
great.
rifle.
It's not
Seems like
bad.
maybe there's a little bit of
I don't think
overconfidence.
it's-
They're backed
I don't think
themselves
I'd have
up
a top
fights a little bit
3.
Too much.
Yeah.
If they keep feeding that into Apeks, they'll keep eating it up the whole
Do you think so? If you saw your players doing that, overheating like that, playing aggressive, looking for the
Camo?
fights, maybe
Camos
looking
is
for the
kinda
highlight
underrated.
plays, right?
I'll give
That
you that.
Odin 3K spray down if they just walk out of the smoke.
Only
At
you're
what point
looking
does
for that.
I think Boaster saw it a little bit there. I think we shared a vision for a moment. But at what point, you know, 12-5, you've got so much room to
Fantasia,
maneuver
I
within
shot, thank
there.
you so much for the 10 months
I
as
suppose
well,
you have to
dude.
ask the
Appreciate that.
question of the
Thank you,
benefit
thank you.
of allowing your players to feel that confidence and then stepping in and going, okay, guys,
I think
straighten
teams
up,
are
we
playing
need to finish this
Fracture
game off.
correctly.
Yeah, I'd like to hope
I don't know, it's a
that
weird
coach
map. It
players
changes
certainly
every
might seem
single
smart enough to
time you
understand,
play
right, okay,
different
it's
comps.
It's a little bit too much. We've lost enough games this season already from a bit of complacency in the second half to big
I think maybe
comebacks,
most teams play a little bit
that
too aggro on
people should
defense.
be calm, composed enough
Mate,
to go,
most
okay,
teams play
that
a
was bit
little
much.
too
Let's
passive on
reset
defense
ourselves,
even,
go back,
not
move
aggro
on,
enough.
and we'll be absolutely fine.
In the coaching seat of Fnatic now, you imagine they're saying, okay, the boys will make that read themselves.
Yeah, for sure. Especially with the experience of these players in particular.
Absolutely, yeah.
Who is the best Neon movement? Probably
Quite a
Danby.
number of rounds needed for Apeks here on the attack. They're going to start it out nice and slow. Gate crash sent towards the C site. Drone going in C, but I don't imagine they're going to execute off that. Maybe trying to see if they can catch the players in rotate over on A. With a lot of players there, they're going to start to move pretty quickly.
They've got to be really careful because both Alfire and Crashies are one away from the ideal retake hole. So you almost have to
Minibu
get in
had
and
a Danby,
eliminate
but
that
it depends
player,
if we're
which
talking.
it
Like if we're
seems
just
like
talking
Alfire
movement, I
might
think
be the
Danby's got
target.
better mechanics. If you think of who makes the Neon look the best, I would say that it's probably Miniboo. But again, I think that's down to like team-based stuff as well. They set it up pretty well.
Now you're looking at 30 seconds and potentially a very late hit towards B.
Juggernaut's mechanics are insane on it as well, yeah.
Open. They'll be making their way to the B site, relatively undefended. It's players that can be pushed back by utility, but Chronicle steps ahead after the stun, grabs one, that spike down, and another!
This might be it.
Beautiful connection, but the response is there from Apeks. If they can stop this plant on Fnatic, it
Should
will
be
be
it.
done. The
Nade
nade
looks
is
good.
on its way. It might be a little bit too much to the right. No,
Oh, it's so close. Just the molly, the molly came in. Wait, dude, the molly would have. It was a team molly. Imagine that, it actually made the difference.
They'll finally need to find their direction with Fnatic coming all from one spot through the smoke, and they're put in the dirt, left into the hands of Bad 2.
Damn, man, Boaster, of course.
It doesn't land. Fnatic.
Yeah, they wrecked him. Double pistol into bonus.
This is going to be tough for Apeks to try to rebuild from the ruins of their map pick.
That was a gamble to pick into.
Buzz's Yor is really op dependent though.
We were hoping to see some next level game plan. Unfortunately, it wasn't the case. Maybe they've done the work on